Welcome back to the Beautifully Intentional podcast. Okay, so for today's episode, we've got a bonus. It's with Nomandra. If you're new around here, then you'll have to go listen to our previous episodes. But our bonus episodes with Nomandra is when I sit down with my good friend Naomi and we just talk about life and what we're currently dealing with. We've talked about how the Enneagram shows up in our personal life. We've talked about her dating life. That one is a real hitter. So you gotta go check out that episode if you haven't. It is so good, and sucks so bad actually. Now that I think about it. So I'm sitting down with her again today, and we have a challenge for you because, well, we have a challenge for ourselves, but we invite you along in the journey with us. So a couple of weeks ago, I sat down with Jamie Casey and we talked about finances, and we talked about just building healthy habits of building your finances in such a way that your money is serving you and you're not a slave to your money. I've opened up to you guys about how in our financial journey for me and Dustin, we're not in a terrible place, but we're not where we want to be. We don't have the savings we want to have. We're not going on the vacations we want to go on. We have old debt that we need to tackle, and we have tried so many different things in the past, and we just have always felt like nothing is working. And so I sat down with Jamie, and she talked to us about the program that she's been using that has helped her and changed her finances drastically, not just her finances, but her mindset around those finances. And so I have bought the same program. I'm going to be doing the same thing. I feel like in the last 3 months of the year, it's easy for people to fall off the train, if you will. So things that you set out to do in the first beginning part of the year, by the end, we're just like barely hanging on. Like we're barely getting our pants on. We're barely showing up to work on time, spending all of our money, eating all the junk food, especially around the holidays. That is where all of our money goes, and that is where all of our calories are eaten. And so I sit down with Naomi, and we just, we're challenging ourselves to really tackle the last 3 months of the year. So listen in as we just kind of just talk about what our struggles have been with, for us, for me and Dustin, our finances, and for her with her health. And yeah, just sit down with us as we talk about what we plan to do for the next 3 months to tackle it. Welcome to the Beautifully Intentional podcast, where I share stories to encourage you to live a more intentional life. Whether it's in your motherhood journey, your friendships, your 9-to-5 job, or pursuing just radical dreams. I believe that sometimes we can just get stuck in the mundane craziness of life, and all it takes is one encouraging word to give us hope to live for something greater. I share stories of living intentional through the simple things like self-care, clean spaces, parenthood, and going after your dreams. My hope is that at the end of every episode, there's a fire set deep within your soul that says, I can do this. And that maybe today is your day to find the beauty in the things that go unnoticed and start living a more intentional life. This is Cassandra Lau, and welcome to Beautifully Intentional.
Hi.
So dumb. Welcome back.
Thanks for having me back.
Okay. So here we are. We've got 3 months left of the whole year. For starters, that literally doesn't even feel right. No. Because I feel like we just started the year for sure. Don't you feel like we just started like, all right, January 1st, we're going to do this?
Yeah, right. We didn't do it, okay? Straight up, didn't happen. But I feel like every year we say, man, it's here again. Yes. The holidays are here again. Yes. But yeah, I think we just have to accept that the year goes by fast.
The year goes by fast.
And we keep messing it up for ourselves.
And it's going by faster and faster every single year. I don't know how that's physically possible, but I feel like it is.
I don't think it's physically going any faster. It's not physically possible.
Right.
Feels like it.
Right. What is that? What is it? Just like adulthood because we have to go to work every day?
Yeah, I think things just go fast. Things move fast. I think every year you see your kids getting bigger. Right. Yeah, the day in, day out stuff, and it just feels fast.
Well, this one came fast, and in a couple days it will be October 1st. Yes. So we've got 3 months left.
Officially the holidays.
As of
October 1st.
And this is the problem. And I know you feel the same way. I personally feel like the last 3 months are always a train wreck, and that like eating healthy goes out the window, and spending all of the money goes out the window.
Yeah, every year I say I'm not going to gain any weight this holiday season, and I walk out 15 pounds heavier, and I don't know what's happening. I'm determined every year.
Right. Well, so, okay. I feel like I proposed to you, and I know that you're reluctant to do this, but
I don't really have a choice.
You don't have a choice. You have to do this. A challenge for the last 3 months of the year. Can we do it? I feel like the eating healthy, like, I don't typically veer off path more than, say, like 2 to 3 weeks max. I usually will pull back around because I've created enough of a habit by now that I feel so much better when I'm working out. I feel so much better when I'm eating right. So
yeah,
I won't allow myself
real
to
struggle for me.
Sure.
Yeah, and I don't struggle as much on the financial side of things.
Right.
I kind of don't really veer off on that.
Right.
And
I feel like on the financial side, we have yet to ever like get it right and then stick to that, to where like if we spent more money, we're veering back into like being right. So I feel like with health, it's like, okay, I have it enough figured out that I know what makes my body feel good. I know a workout routine that works for us. And even when I veer off and it's like, okay, we've been on vacation, or our schedules have gotten busy, I know how to get back on track, and it's not a problem.
Right.
Where with finances, I don't feel like we've ever been on track enough to where I feel like, okay, we can veer off here and there, but we always know how to come back around. It's like we haven't figured it out yet.
I feel the same way with the health journey. So I feel like, if your listeners may know that we work out together pretty much every morning. But then there's seasons where we go through and there's times where we can't make it for a couple weeks at a time or something, whatever happens. And I literally derail to the point where I'm completely overboard. Like I struggle so much with getting back onto a routine or back onto like the groove. And even if I start going back to the gym, it's like, I'm such a like A-type personality and like kind of obsessive over things that if things aren't right all around me, then I especially don't want to get back on board. So like it takes like the perfect storm of like getting back on track means everything being right. Like my house has to be clean, my car has to be clean, my meals have to be right. I have to feel right, and then it's like, okay, now we're starting over again. So I feel like I just derail so easy.
It's an all or nothing.
Yes.
And literally all or nothing. Because why does your house being clean have anything to do with showing up to the gym?
I don't know. It just doesn't feel right.
And I guess I can relate to that on the financial side, and that is like if we have like, if our finances get like messed up for a few days, it's like, I guess we'll try next month.
Right.
Or it's not like, why can't we just pick it up tomorrow?
Right. You're constantly telling me, why can't you just make sure you drink really good water today and you are, take an extra walk today. And I'm like, well, it's because I didn't do well this morning. So.
And mine are excuses. I mean, they are all excuses, but I always lean on the excuse of, I feel like what derails us is things that are out of our control. Where it's like, oh, we got a flat tire. Okay, well, we didn't plan for that. And now that kind of messes us up. And then, great, now everything is messed up. I guess we'll start again next month.
I think that's kind of the other thing about excuses, though, is because I do the same thing, right? Like, I can say, well, this came up and I ended up not being able to go home and make a good meal. I ended up having to eat out because I was outside of my control was this and this that happened, and I had to go do that, right? And at the end of the day, we don't have to do anything, but there's always a reason. So what I've learned over these years is that there's going to always be a reason to not stick to what you want to do. There's always going to be something else to do. So it's kind of having to put your foot down and say, like, I'm going to create that whether or not I want to do it or not.
I feel like I want to, so I want to go into the next 3 months, like, hardcore. But I first feel like I have to figure out, like, why have we not figured it out so far? I don't know. You know what I mean? And I feel like we've come a long way, but I still feel like, okay, it's not, because I feel like the people who reach the level of like, yes, I have control of my finances, it's like they're confident in it. It's like, oh no, like I know exactly where every single dollar goes. And I know that I've been able to save, all this money, even though my income hasn't changed. And it's like, they get it. Like something clicks. And I'm like, well, how come it hasn't clicked yet? And so it's like, for me, I want to figure out what is it that has been like, I don't know, like the roadblock up until this point. And do you feel the same way about like...
Yeah, I do. I think we've talked about this, at times, but I think a lot of it is just habit. Right. And we've talked about habits. You've talked about it in the previous episode. Right. But it's getting into the habit and making it a lifestyle choice. Yeah. So just like with health, it having to be a lifestyle, the same thing with finances. Like it has to be a lifestyle. There has to be, the biggest thing is you have to know why you're doing it. Like the biggest why behind it, right? So like if for health, it's that I want to be able to be active. I want to be able to feel freedom. I want to be able to, not be slowed down and to be able to give my best self to, to my own life and to the people around me. You have to figure out what why is behind finances, right? So whatever that looks like. You want to be able to take rad vacations, or you want to be able to do cool stuff with your kids, but the financial side is holding you back. We have to figure out why, what's motivating us. Right.
And I think that even when I sat down with Jamie Casey and we talked about finances, and she talked about the specific program that she used that helped her, that was her biggest advice too, is just building that habit. Yeah. And I know about habits, and I know that so many areas of my life have been changed because of habits, but...
Yeah. The other big thing, too, that I know is that creating habits and then creating the lifestyle, you really have to go through some pain. Right. And there's not only a sacrifice, but there's pain that goes along with sacrifice. Right. And so I know in my own life, I look at the habits that I've created and the behaviors, and a lot of my behaviors are... How can I stay out of pain? Sure. How can I be more comfortable? How can I be, less active, or like whatever that looks like? So, it's challenging because it's a matter of changing like your mindset also to like accepting pain, accepting uncomfortability, accepting sacrifice. Right. And that's really, I think, the key of changing both health and finances. Right. It's being willing to accept pain.
Right. Yeah, I could see that, because that has probably been the biggest hurdle for us, is that especially like somebody else in the room who he has his headphones on. He just took his headphones out. He's like, I'm listening. Oh, it's okay. I didn't say anything yet. But one particular, say, partner, right, in the family,
one of the husbands in the room.
I feel like because of the nature of my personality type is that I can go along with whatever. It's literally like whatever's going to make the family unit happy. So if making the family unit happy was somebody who like was super strict on finances, I would be like, all right, that's our lifestyle, and and we reap the benefit of that. But I'm married to somebody who loves like to have fun and the vibes and all of that. And I'm here for it. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. Let's have fun. Let's do all that.
You sway really easily to say yes to that.
And it sucks so bad because I feel like we're so close, where it's like we don't put ourselves in debt to go have fun. Yeah. Like we don't spend money that we don't have.
Right. But you're also not putting it towards something that feels productive.
Exactly. It's that we don't ever we haven't sacrificed enough to be able to really fully enjoy the freedom of being completely debt free. And saving up for those super fun vacations. It's like, we can go on these one-nighters here or there. Yeah. And that's not going to affect our finances. But all those one-nighters here and there are stopping us from taking that Disney cruise that we really want to take, or whatever.
I feel like I can speak to the singleness aspect of that too, though, because I don't know that it makes it any easier. Right. Because it's all personality, right? It's what I live for fun. I live for having a good time. So health, I feel like, takes a back seat on that sometimes because it's like, well, we're out celebrating or we're out having a good time. It's sentimental. It's, for me, there's always a reason to celebrate.
Oh, absolutely.
It's Monday. We're going to celebrate Monday, but it's Friday. We're going to celebrate Friday. There's literally always something. So I battle myself just the way you battle your husband. Like at the end of the day, it's,
and I don't even battle him. It's, if that's what's going to make the family happy, then I'm here for it. And it makes me happy too. So I just know that I could be pulled in either direction. But the reason why as a unit, we haven't decided like, okay, we're going to like go all in with this is because I know that it would disrupt and it would make us uncomfortable, and it would make the family, because now our kids are used to it. They're used to going and having fun. Yeah. They're not the kind of kids that are going to expect a toy in Target, because they know that we just don't buy stuff. But that, like,
they love restaurants.
They love restaurants.
They love hotels.
They love hotels. They love, like, all the things that we love. You know, they love amusement parks. And they love, you know, museums. And
they also love eating healthy, because that's one thing that you don't struggle with. So it's, you mean, like, it's creating the habit, and it affecting the, you know, the lifestyle.
Yes. So I know that when it comes time for us to say, okay, we need to make changes so that our future can look better than it is right now, it's going to affect all of us. And it's like, our kids have to be on board. Not that they have to be on board, they're gonna come on board regardless, but that, like, it's not only just me that is gonna feel the, like, oh, this kind of sucks in this moment. Like, I know that Dustin, it's gonna suck for him. I know for the kids, they're gonna be like, what?
And I do think that they really can come on board, not just because they have to, but I think that it can be really fun for them. Like, it can be a family, like,
I think so too.
Reach a family goal. You can create a poster that shows how much you're saving, or how much you're paying off, or whatever, like a visual, and they can get excited. They can color it in. I've seen a lot of that with different financial people that I follow, that they really incorporate a lot of fun for their kids, and their kids know that the sacrifices they're making are because we're reaching this goal, and that goal means something.
Right. Yeah, I feel like we have to do something like that just to make it fun for them, but also for ourselves.
Yeah. So what do we do from here? Like, what does this look like?
So we have to come up with a plan. Oh. Okay, so for next 3 months, I'm personally willing to commit to...
are we both committing to financial and health? Is this how this is going?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I can commit to the health aspect, no problem. That's not going to be the problem for me.
I feel like I can commit to the financial part, no problem.
So we each have one thing that we have to commit to. I'll commit to the money if you commit to the health. Yes. And sure, I'll go along with you.
Yeah, I will too. Let's do this.
Totally. So I will also commit to health, but that's not going to be the struggle for me.
Right.
So, and vice versa. Mm-hmm. So I'm saying, if you are willing to commit for the next 3 months, finish out the year strong during the hardest season.
Oh God. My palms are sweating. My blood pressure is raising.
Okay, so if you'll commit for the next 3 months, during the hardest season of getting healthy, because it is, I'm willing to commit to the next 3 months in this season to saving money, which is the hardest thing to do.
Yes.
Because really, if we can get through these next 3 months, why can't we go through the next year?
We could get through the next year. No problem, right?
No problem.
Right?
And then come January 1st, we're not going to start over.
Right.
We'll just keep going, and we'll already be at the top.
Oh my God, this sounds so great.
Okay, I'm here for it. So I personally am going to commit to not going over our food budget. Okay. This is the hardest thing for us, because... And we've come a long way. Like, we used to be spenders where we literally would go to the grocery store every single day. Every single day of the month.
I remember that.
And we were like, what do we want to eat tonight? And we'd go just buy all the ingredients, which would cost more than we would spend at a restaurant half the time. And then...
The problem is your husband cooks like a restaurant, so it's worth it.
That's the problem. That's the problem. But then also we celebrate... Anything is celebratable. Is that a word?
It sure is.
All right, celebratable with a meal. So that means, oh great, it's Tuesday and I have Tuesday off. That means we go out to lunch. Oh, I also have Thursdays off. Oh, we go out to lunch.
Right.
And oh, it's a Saturday morning. We get to go out for breakfast because the kids aren't in school. Oh, it's literally anything. Right. It doesn't even have to be a birthday or a holiday. Anything. Literally anything. Like,
okay. So you're going to not go over food budget.
Yes, I'm not going to go over food budget.
Not go over food choices.
Okay. All right. So, okay, so now how? So I think that we are going to switch to the cash envelope system.
Okay.
It sounds so old age, but Jamie is convincing me that she agreed that it's old age, and she said you can't knock it till you try it. And that's the one thing we haven't tried. We've tried the digital tracking apps for about 2 years, and it helps. Like, we have saved hundreds compared to what we used to spend, but we still, I know for a fact, could save money. Yeah. Like, no, hands down. Because what we'll do is we'll track it. We're really good at tracking it. And then we'll go over and it's like, oh,
yeah, you spent it. It didn't shut off your bank account.
Exactly.
Just told you where you put it.
Exactly. Yes. So now that we've tracked everywhere where it goes for last year, so okay, so we're gonna switch to the cash envelope system for the next 3 months for food specifically. Yes. How are you going to do it?
So I'm going to commit to making sure I'm packing healthy lunches during the week.
Okay.
Not eating fast food.
Sure.
And making sure that...
And then, okay, so then what classifies as fast food?
Right.
Because I feel like there are some healthy choices out there that like you could go to Waba Grill and get like, if you're in a hurry,
right,
so that you don't feel like, well, I made this commitment and I don't have food, so I have to starve.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay, so
not that I guess I would never personally
starve. I would say then like the classic idea of fast food then. Like
it's like French fries.
Exactly.
Fried food.
Like fried
soda.
food.
Okay.
Exactly. Soda. Okay.
So for 3 months you're committing to no fast food. You hesitated.
I guess.
Putting you on the spot.
I know. I don't really know how to answer this.
Right.
Are we doing like a cheat day, like a treat meal, or what's our what's our?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah,
let's talk about it
because we still have an eating out budget.
Okay,
we have to stick to it.
Okay.
So you have like because it is the holidays and you're gonna celebrate the holidays.
Right.
It's the problem is that people will say they're celebrating the holidays. The holiday is 2 days.
It is the holidays for me is 6 months.
Exactly. And all of a sudden now the holidays are all of the days leading up to the holiday.
And the days after.
For the next 6 months. So, but I do know that there are Christmas parties. So maybe for you, I would encourage you to look at your calendar, write in when those celebrations are. Okay. Like if you have your company Christmas party, we're going to have like a Friendsgiving. We're going to have Thanksgiving. We're going to have Christmas Day. Right. Like actually list out the actual events. I know, I'm thinking like
there's days where I know I'm going out of town and I'm like, that would be very fun to have a treat day.
Sure, yeah.
Out of town.
Yes.
Okay.
But then if you commit that every single day that is not actually celebrating, then you're not actually celebrating with food.
That's
you know
fair.
what I mean?
Yeah, that's
Is that fair? And in the same way, we'll create an eating out budget and we're just going to stick to that eating out budget. And that means we're still going to enjoy eating out.
I think the biggest thing is like committing to the day in, day out stuff where it's like typically I'd be like, well, I'll just get soda today. I won't get it tomorrow. Right. But then tomorrow never ends.
Yeah.
So like committing to over the next 3 months, genuinely like, unless it's a celebrate meal. Yeah. We can call it that. That's fun. I kind of like that.
It sounds
fun.
Yeah.
Funsies.
Celebratory.
So unless it's a celebrate meal, then water.
Right.
Good, solid, clean, whole food.
Right. Yes. And even when you're traveling and like out the whole time, it doesn't mean that everything has to go out the window.
Right.
But rather like pick a day where it's like, oh, we're going to go to the movies. So I'm going to get popcorn and candy when we go to the movies this day. Right. But like you're going to go out to lunch. There's no reason why we can't choose healthy food for lunch, right?
Yeah.
In the same way that we will commit to like, we're going to go do this Christmas date and we'll like have a budget that we're going to spend on dinner and it's going to be more than maybe our normal weekly budget, but we're planning for it. Yeah. And during the week, we'll have to sacrifice and eat at home every day to save money so that when we do that Christmas event or whatever.
The other big component to this for me is the committing to working out.
Right. Yeah.
So I find that if I don't do both together, I won't do them individually.
I get that.
And I don't know if that's just me or if your listeners are like that too. But if I'm not working out, I don't feel as motivated to eat well. Or if I'm
it's a trigger in
eating
my brain.
well, I'm motivated to work out more. So they kind of go hand in hand. So I want to do both because I feel like most results are going to come with both.
I agree. And I've never understood. There's so many people that say that they eat bad because they worked out. And I've never understood that. Yeah, they feel like they can
open door to do it because they've already burnt the calories.
Exactly, yes. In their brain, they've already burnt the calories. Therefore, they can afford to have the pizza. And in my brain, I'm like, if I work out, I'm like, heck no, I'm not going to ruin that.
Too much hard work out the window. Yeah. Especially for us when we get up so early, we feel like the real sacrifice was made.
And maybe that's why. Maybe it's because we're getting up early where maybe the people that connect, like, you burned off the calories for the food, they work out at night, so they feel like
maybe they
forget about how I don't know. But if I wake up in the morning, I mean there ain't nothing that's gonna But okay, so we're gonna commit to that. I think something else we've talked about like trying is just like finding random stuff to sell and then taking that money and saving it, putting it in like savings. So that's another thing I think we're gonna try. We're pretty good about like always filtering through like I don't know, if I don't like it, we get rid of it, we donate it, we get something else. But I know for a fact I can look around here and there's some things that could be sold.
Yeah.
Like, why not? Just to collect extra money.
Mm-hmm.
Actually building a savings. I feel like for us, our emergency fund, quote unquote, our savings always becomes our emergency fund. Right. And there's nothing that like we just stash aside that's untouchable. Like, it's always touchable. It's always reachable. Right. We always, and it sucks because as soon as we get like a really good, decent savings, then there's something that happens, like a piece of equipment breaks for Destin, which is always thousands. Need
both. Like, you need to have both, money that is like for those tire pops, or you need something for when, something like that happens. But then you need to build into savings that's there because it's truly an emergency fund, like a major emergency fund. Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna do that. There was something other that we had talked about earlier too about. I saw somebody, they save every $5 bill. Oh, and when you switch to the cash envelope system, you're now collecting change that you never had before. So we'll like collect change and then just every $5 bill. And then after a couple months, it's like you count up all your fives and you have a couple extra $100.
That's a great idea. Yeah. I thought about that because I remember in junior high, I had this friend who loved to change. It was just like her thing. Yeah. And I remember one day we went as a field trip to like Six Flags or something like that. And all day long, she kept telling people, if you don't want change, you can give it to me. And nobody wanted change. So they kept giving her change. She totaled it up at the end of the day and she had like $20.
No way.
Like, she had made back so much money just by taking people's change. Yeah. And like, it got me thinking when we were talking about this, like, I wonder how much money we really could put away if we just kept like a bucket in the corner, like one of those like big like paint buckets, or like Arrowhead water buckets, type thing. And like just started genuinely throwing not only your change, but people are always willing to get rid of the change in their hand, like people at the bottom of their purses, or it kind of made me feel like I would like to try to like collect people's change. Like, almost, that's a fun experiment.
Kind of sounds like homeless. That's like what they do.
Kind of sounds cool though. Like, it obviously works.
You just start sitting on a street corner with a sign.
Like, I almost want to do for the next 3 months, collect people's change, throw it in a bucket, and at the end we can report how much money I've made.
Absolutely. I'm willing. Yeah. Okay.
And maybe I'll throw my own fives in there too. I don't know. What about a separate bucket for my fives? I don't know. But
the $5 bill thing, like, when I saw that, I was inspired to do it because I was listening to, I think it was The Budget Mom. I don't remember. Yeah, it was The Budget Mom. And I think it was in the month of July, maybe. They did, generic July. That's what it was. So switching over, when you go to the grocery store, every single brand, switch over to generic and just save that extra, like, couple dollars. And she, at the end, had totaled up her receipt, and she had saved, like, $6.24 that shopping trip. And I'm like, $6 freaking dollars.
Yeah,
like,
all that for
all
just $6.
All of that for $6. Yeah. But she shops weekly. So I totaled, if we would have just had that mentality 13 years ago when we first got married and just saved $6 a week over 13 years, it was like, I'm going to do the math right now because it was shocking. I was like,
but look, this is the thing. This is what it comes down to with, you've done your other episode on habits and, we talked about all these different things, but this is the reality. If you started with something small and stuck to it, that's anything. If you took one class a semester, in however many years, you would have your degree. The time is going to pass either way, right? If you save $1 a week, that will turn into something at some point, whether or not you see it happening at the time. If you cut out sweets and you cut out, carbs or whatever you choose to do, and you lost 1 pound, a week, that would turn into something. And so there's so much like truth behind that. Like if you just stop looking for the instant result, if you just stop looking for having to see it right now, and just the truth behind that is that it will come with time. That's it.
Right. And I feel like, I just calculated it. If we would have just saved $6 a week, which I feel like is nothing, like all of us could probably scrounge up $6 a week. Maybe we can't, but $3,893 would have just been sitting in a savings account, just sitting there.
That's a mini vacay.
That's a mini vacay.
Like, I'll do that.
I'll do that. $6 a week.
Yes.
So anyway,
when I threw every little $5 into that, like,
and that's where this like $5 thing came. Yeah, exactly. That's when this whole $5 thing came. I was like, oh yeah, every time you get a $5, especially when you're using cash to pay for things. Yeah. But No, that's great. So then so is there anything else that you feel like...
Is there anything you can think of that I need to add to this? I think, so I think I'll just dive deeper then into the whole like food thing we're talking about. So it's not just the fast food but like also sweet. So like being very conscious of like what I'm eating, when I'm eating it. So I need to cut out sweets.
Sure.
I need to cut out those things on top of the fast foods, on top of the soda, that stuff.
Right. Okay.
I think this is enough.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll do it. And the same way that just our food, because we're not huge spenders. Like, we don't go shopping. Yeah. We don't, like, I think for us, it's mostly on food. And then we don't realize the little things. I think there's a book called, like, what's it called? It's like the latte mentality. I don't know. I'd have to Google it, but it's called something like that. And the whole point is it's the $5 and $10 purchases that keep people from living the life they want to live. Yep. And we are 100% testimonies of that, because we're not big spenders. We don't have fancy cars. We don't live in a big house. We don't do like home remodels. We don't spend thousands at a time. We spend $5 and $10 enough because it feels painless to do that. So much that we feel the pain of not ever like
but at the end of the day, your budget's thrown off completely.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that also like a fear of mine has been that, like, much like a diet, where it's like when you restrict something so much, it then creates a binge. Yes. And I want to avoid that from happening. Yeah. And so I think that I want to go into the next 3 months with doing things on purpose, knowing that it's going to be painful, creating that habit, but also paying attention to not withholding so much that it creates a binge. Yeah. You know what I mean? And that come January, we spend all of our money.
I get it. I really do, because I feel like my biggest fear in all this is that I've failed so many times at it that it's like, I don't know that I even know that I can do it.
Right.
And then when I do feel like I do it for a while, when I do get thrown off, then it almost sets me back even further than I was before.
Right.
So it's the same. Yeah. It's a binge mentality.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. I think we got this.
Yeah, we got this.
Okay. All right. So I know that these are two things that, like, we're normal people, right?
Yeah.
Like, so, and I know from just talking to so many people, whether they're in my chair or on Instagram, whether they're followers, they are dealing with the same thing. Like, the amount of people who will DM me after I post like a gym post, and they're like, man, that's really inspired me. Like, I know that I need to get back in the gym. Like, thank you for posting that, because that's encouraging, because it, you know, like, I got to do it. Or that will reach out like, you'd be so proud. I've gone to the gym every day this week, you know? So I know that, that falling off the wagon those last 3 months is something that a lot of people struggle with when it comes to investing in their health. And then same for finances. Like, when I put on Instagram that, you know, who would even care or be interested in knowing our financial journey? I don't have to make that public for my sake. That's irrelevant to me, you know. But like, who would that encourage? And so many people are like, oh my gosh, like, that would totally encourage me, like, you know. And even just after the episode that I did with Jamie, so many people were like, you know, what's that program that she used? Like, I'm really inspired to, like, you know, get in control of finances. So I just encourage you guys as listeners, if there's any one of you that are struggling in either finances or your health journey, I just encourage you to take this next 3 months and just being intentional about just focusing on it, just giving it more effort than you gave it the last 3 months, and maybe even looking at the first 3 months of the year and that grit that you had and that fire that you had, and like reignite that and take that into the next 3 months. And I will post, I don't know, say weekly, like, updates on how we did that week, how we've been doing. If you will do the same, I can have people follow your journey, totally. You know, is it Naomi Martinez?
Yeah, at Naomi Martinez 12.
Naomi Martinez. So
NOMIMARTINEZ 12.
And I'll put that in the show notes too, that way people can reach it. And then we will catch back up in 3 months.
Yeah, feel free to reach out and encourage me.
Right? Yes.
Please.
I'm begging you. Okay, so then in 3 months we'll be back up and we'll see. Yeah. We'll see how much money we gained, how much weight you lost.
Right.
The wins and the gains.
Right. I feel so much pressure right now.
The gains and the losses.
the gains and
I feel like I kind of need that pressure.
Yeah.
Because I feel like without the accountability and without that like healthy competition, I don't know, nothing's worked before, so let's just try it.
Right. We can't get any worse, right?
Okay, great. So here's to the next 3 months.
All right.
Cheers.
Oh my gosh, that was
Jinx,
not
you owe me a
planned.
soda. Okay, bye. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. I hope that you found this episode inspiring or encouraging and just life-giving. And as always, I appreciate any and all positive feedback, keynote positive feedback. So tag me, message me, go on iTunes and leave a review, rate, subscribe, because that's how podcasts stay alive. And I didn't even mean to rhyme there, so that works. So yeah, you can find me on Instagram at beautifully.intentional, and that's where I hang out. That's where you can kind of see me in my own personal life. And yeah, so thank you so much for listening in. Until next time.